Although at first glance they seem like mere silent inhabitants of the forest, mushrooms hold one of nature's most fascinating secrets. For a long time, they remained in the shadow of plants and animals, cultivated mainly as a culinary addition or a mold threat. Only now is modern science beginning to discover the enormous role they play in the functioning of the entire planet. This film will take you deeper beneath the leaves and mosses. Mushrooms will show you how the forest internet works. It will discuss their role as ecological engineers and, perhaps, a source of healing for the earth and even for people. Invisible, underground, yet ubiquitous, they connect, transform, and bring to life. Modern scientific research shows that fungi are much more than that. They are the foundation of life on our planet. Beneath the Earth's surface stretches a vast network of mycelial hyphae, a structure that connects trees, plants, and microorganisms into one shared system. Scientists call this phenomenon the Wood Wide Web, the forest internet. Thanks to this network, plants can exchange nutrients, warn against pests, and even support younger or weaker individuals. What once seemed like a random coexistence is now seen as a perfectly organized collaborative ecosystem. Fungi are a key element. They are connectors, translators, and energy providers in the biological world. Imagine a network of fiber optic cables. Except that instead of plastic and copper, we have thread-thin hyphae. These filaments, called hyphae, entwine plant roots, creating vast, often imperceptible connections between trees and other plants. Thanks to them, plants exchange not only water and elements, but also chemical signals, warnings, help, and sharing fuel in the form of sugars. Many plants form symbiotic relationships with mycorrhizal fungi. The fungus receives easily usable carbohydrates from the plant, in turn extends the range of its roots, improves phosphorus and nitrogen uptake, and sometimes protects against pathogens. Field studies show that an old oak tree can feed young seedlings that grow in the shade, a bit like a grandmother who always has candy in her pocket for her grandchildren. Research by Susan Semart from the University of British Columbia has shown that trees can use fungi to share carbon with younger plants or warn others of danger. The mycelium acts as a natural server that distributes resources in response to changes in the environment. From a biological perspective, this is mycorrhizal symbiosis. The exchange between the fungus provides water and minerals, and the plant provides the products of photosynthesis. In practice, it's a complex system that encompasses the entire forest ecosystem. Fungi are one large organism that rules the world. Not in a metaphorical sense, but in a biological sense. Mycelium in a forest can cover many square kilometers and act as a single, synchronized organism. The largest known mushroom, Armilla astia in Oregon, USA, covers an area of approximately 9 square kilometers, weighs an estimated 600 tons, and is over 2,000 years old. It is not just a living organism, it is the ecological infrastructure of the planet. The network of mycelial hyphae is not merely a passive transmitter of substances, but can function as a dynamic response system. A change in one part triggers reorganization in another. This gives a new meaning to the statement that a fungus is one large organism that rules the world, not as a mystical metaphor, but as a proposition of a biological system that reacts as a whole. So if someone is really pulling the strings in the forest, it's not elves, it's mushrooms, and they do it quite discreetly. Mushrooms are masters of decomposition. In the natural life cycle, they function as ecological recyclers. They break down dead organic matter into simple compounds, which become food for other organisms. Without them, the earth would be covered in a layer of dead plants and animals. However, their abilities go much further. Modern research shows that fungi can help cleanse soil and water of toxins, and even break down plastics. This phenomenon is called mycoremediation, an ecological method that uses fungi to repair the environment. Fungi are masters of decomposition. They are the ones who can break down wood into small, digestible fragments, which are returned to the cycle of life. Importantly, they do this with enzymes, lactases, peroxidases, and other magical molecules that break down difficult compounds like lignin, the same compound that makes wood hard. Mycoremediation. The term sounds serious, and rightly so. Some species of fungi can break down or bind toxins, oils, various hydrocarbons, heavy metals, and even, in pregnant studies, fragments of plastic. In practice, the mycelium grows through contaminated soil, enzymes dissolve the poison, and microorganisms and plants benefit from the cleansed environment. And if you think this is a clever tactic to get free food, well, it is. Fungal enzymes can break down the most complex organic substances, including lignin and cellulose. Without them, the earth would be covered in dead matter that no one can decompose. It is fungi that ensure the cycle of life and death can continue. Fungi are nature's master recyclers, and their ability to break down complex molecules makes them powerful allies in cleaning up the planet. A process known as mycoremediation harnesses the natural metabolic power of the mycelium to degrade and sequester pollutants. Fungi secrete powerful extracellular enzymes capable of breaking down persistent toxic substances produced by industry. They have evolved to digest lignin and cellulose, but their non-specificity allows them to break down also complex hydrocarbons, oils, pesticides, and industrial solvents. Fungi can degrade them. Mycelium introduced in situ grows like a biological filter, breaking down pollutants into simpler compounds. In the case of heavy metals like mercury and lead, fungi absorb and concentrate them, and the condensed biomass can be safely disposed of. It's a sustainable, economical alternative to excavation, incineration, or living chemicals. Fungi are chemists with extraordinary skills. To survive and thrive, they produce a vast and diverse arsenal of chemical compounds known as metabolites. These are small molecules generated during the fungus's metabolic processes. They are not essential for the fungus's basic growth, but they perform a wide range of specialized functions. Metabolites are tools that fungi use to interact with their world. They can act as signals, they can act as weapons. Some of these compounds are used to deter competitors such as bacteria or other fungi. It is this chemical prowess that has attracted the attention of scientists, technologists, and thinkers, promising to transform our understanding of biology, medicine, and technology. Some species like Pleurotus osteratus, or the oyster mushroom, can even break down toxins and petrochemical pollutants. This process, called mycoremediation, the use of fungi to clean up the environment, The mycelium absorbs toxic molecules and then enzymatically breaks them down, often converting them into harmless organic compounds. The oyster mushroom is excellent at degrading hydrocarbons used in oil spill pilots and remediation. Mushrooms are a living, adaptive solution that can be tailored to specific pollutants. Modern laboratories are using these properties to clean up soils contaminated with heavy metals or microplastics. Research by Professor Paul Stamets' team shows that mushrooms can be a natural ally in the fight against industrial pollution. Humanity has been enjoying the benefits of the mushroom kingdom for centuries. Antibiotics like penicillin are just the tip of the iceberg. Research is currently underway into the use of some species in treating depression, addiction, and anxiety disorders. Substances like psilocybin, previously marginalized, are now returning to the favor of science as a potential tool supporting psychotherapy. Mushrooms are also appearing in the context of modern technologies. Their mycelium can be used to produce ecological building materials, fabrics, and even alternatives to leather or plastic. The potential seems almost limitless. Humanity has been using mushrooms for a long time, not only in cooking but also in medicine. Penicillin is a classic example, the first step in the era of antibiotics. It later turned out that many important molecules have fungal origins. Statins, cholesterol-lowering drugs, also have their roots in fungal metabolites. Currently, research also concerns psychedelic compounds like psilocybin in the treatment of depression, PTSD, and addiction, under strict clinical supervision and growing interest in the results. Technological innovations, mycelium as a material. Mycelium fibers are used to produce building boards, fabrics, and biodegradable packaging. Companies and designers are experimenting with furniture grown from mycelium, aesthetically and sustainably. This is a future where furniture can be grown instead of manufactured. Beyond chemical and biological possibilities, mushrooms are becoming a source of revolutionary materials. The key is the mycelium, a dense network of hyphae, an extraordinary natural polymer. It grows quickly, is biodegradable, and can be molded into almost any shape. The shreds glue the substrate particles together into a durable mass. After dehydration, a lightweight, fire-resistant, and highly insulating material is created. An alternative to foam, applications are rapidly expanding from packaging to insulating panels and structural bricks. Imagine buildings grown, not built. There is no doubt in the world of science that fungi have changed the course of human history. The most famous example is penicillin, discovered by Alexander Fleming in 1928. The first antibiotic saved millions of lives, but that was only the beginning. Research is currently underway on the use of some species in the treatment of depression, addiction, and anxiety disorders. Statins are also obtained from mushrooms, such as levostatin, a cholesterol-lowering drug, as well as immunomodulating compounds such as beta-glucans, from the lingzhi mushroom or raceyi. Metabolites from medicinal mushrooms such as raceyi, Ganoderma lucidum, and tramates are being studied for their ability to support immunity in patients undergoing cancer therapy and for treating inflammation. The interaction between mushroom compounds and the human brain can fundamentally change our perception of reality. In recent years, science has been revisiting research on psilocybin, a natural alkaloid found in some mushroom species. Research from Johns Hopkins University and Imperial College London shows that specific doses of psilocybin can help treat treatment-resistant depression and addiction. Psychoactive metabolites, particularly psilocybin, achieve this by disrupting normal patterns of brain activity, altering activity in the default mode network. The DMN is active when we think about ourselves, daydream, worry about the future, and dwell on the past. It is often associated with the construction of our sense of self. By quieting this network, psilocybin can temporarily dissolve the usual boundaries of the self. This ego dissolution can lead to profound changes in perception. Individuals report a reduced sense of separation and an increased sense of belonging to the greater wholeness of the universe or humanity. Temporarily, by dismantling the brain's filtering mechanisms, these connections allow for a more direct experience of reality. Psilocybin increases communication between areas that don't normally cooperate, creating a flexible, interconnected brain state. Information flows more freely between the visual cortex and regions responsible for emotion and memory. This may explain synthesis and foster new perspectives on old problems. It helps break out of the ruminating anhedonic loops characteristic of depression. The influence of mushroom metabolites reaches deep into the functioning of the human body, shaping our health in complex and powerful ways. One of the most significant areas of influence is the immune system. Our bodies have coexisted with fungi for millennia. The evolution of the immune system recognizes their molecular signals. Beta-glucans from fungal cell walls are known as powerful immunomodulators. They strengthen the immune system, helping to balance its activity. This is a field of intense scientific research. How powerful are mushrooms? Their metabolites can influence health, emotions, immunological processes, and even the way we process reality. Not only do they clean up the planet, but they may also be organizing the human mind. If fungi have this ability to respond and adapt, could subtle forms of learning influence their methods of producing metabolites? Does their environmental memory translate into how they produce bioactive compounds depending on their environment? This remains an open area for research, but just considering this possibility suggests how powerful fungi are. The great power of mushrooms, that you had no idea about, may have not only ecological but also pharmacological consequences. Beyond medicine, mushrooms are becoming a source of inspiration for biotechnology and sustainable industry. Mycelium is used to create construction materials, biodegradable packaging, and fabrics. MycoWorks has developed mushroom leather, which can replace traditional animal leather, durable, flexible, and fully biodegradable. The world of mushrooms forces us to rethink the concept of intelligence in nature. They have no brains or nerves, yet they can respond to their environment, communicate, and interact in ways reminiscent of complex social systems. They teach us humility, showing us that life is a web of interdependencies, and that the survival of one creature often depends on another. Mushrooms have no brains or neurons, yet they exhibit abilities that resemble simple forms of decision-making or memory. Choosing a growth route based on resources, directing components to the parts of the network that need them, and even responding to chemical signals from plants are not unconscious in the human sense, but complex emergent collective behaviors. Scientists discuss the computational properties of mycelium networks, such as solving topological problems, shortest paths, and optimal branching. Laboratory experiments illustrate that mycelium can allocate resources to support the growth of the most promising branches. Can mushrooms be intelligent? This question sounds ridiculous until you see how they respond to stimuli. Research shows that mycelium can learn and optimize its growth in response to obstacles and food sources. Experiments with microscopic mycelial networks have shown that mycelium can choose the shortest path between 2 points, similar to a neural network. Furthermore, electrical impulses in mycelium resemble the rhythms of neuronal activity. Mycelia exhibit what can be called adaptive structural memory. When hyphae encounter an obstacle, Some of them learn an alternative route and remember this optimal route upon subsequent expansion. In experiments, a section of mycelium was chemically stimulated and the response in a distant part of the same network was observed. This suggests that signals are traveling within the system, as if the network were talking to itself. This is not evidence of consciousness in the human sense, but an existing analogy. A system without neurons, but with some form of environmental memory and adaptive flexibility. Delving into the mushroom kingdom, we encounter in some places and ask questions that challenge our definitions of intelligence and memory. Past encounters with toxins, compounds, or organisms can leave a lasting mark on physiology and behavior. It's not memory like in humans, but cellular or epigenetic memory. Repeated exposure can train the mycelium to produce specific enzymes more efficiently. Whether this state is encoded in RNA or network architecture is an active frontier of research. If environmental memory models chemical production, the implications are enormous. The chemical signature reflects the fungus's life history. Perhaps we need to not only screen species, but also educate them in complex environments to unlock their full potential. The future lies in understanding the dynamics between genetics, the environment, and their behavior. The answers could transform pharmacology, materials science, and our understanding of life. The journey of the fungal world has only just begun. The history of fungi is one of connections, transformations, and untapped potential. Their influence on human affairs is profound. From leavening our bread to fermenting beverages. This leads to a surprising hypothesis. Fungi may be a distributed information processing system that analyzes environmental data and responds to it in an organized manner. So mushrooms aren't just part of nature. They're its foundation. They connect, heal, transform, and inspire. By uncovering their mystery, we learn to understand how deeply specialized all life on Earth is. Perhaps it is in these silent underground networks that the key to our planet's sustainable future lies. Mushrooms teach us that life is a web of interdependencies. That the survival and health of ecosystems depends on subtle, invisible interactions. They are decomposers, but also creators, mediators, and innovators. Their applications, from environmental cleanup to medicine to innovative materials, show that looking deep into the mycelium can reveal solutions to many modern problems. Go for a walk in the forest and observe how a powerful network surrounds you. Learn from nature. Mushrooms are the living infrastructure of the biosphere. Invisible, silent, yet powerful. This kingdom connects the worlds of plants, animals, and humans into a single network of energy and information exchange. Without them, there would be no forests, no soil, and perhaps no us. In light of modern research, it seems no exaggeration to say that fungi are one giant organism that rules the world. Not through power, but through interdependence. A delicate yet ubiquitous web of life that we are only just beginning to understand. And if from now on you look at the humble fly agaric or boletus with greater respect, that's good, because perhaps they hold in their stipules the key to the planet's survival. In the face of unprecedented crises, we turn to this ancient kingdom for new solutions. Exploring the world of fungi is exploring a different kind of intelligence, a delightful one, woven into the environment. Their metabolites influence our health, emotions, immunity, and how we perceive reality may structure the human mind. If fungi have the ability to respond and adapt, then small forms of learning may shape their metabolite production. This very possibility suggests how powerful fungi are. Great power you never knew existed, hidden right under our feet.